Morning, guys. Morning coffee with Lunaya. I got my trusty bear cup, clear full. Sweet mother's milk. Gotta love coffee. So I thought today, instead of doing a video about apartment protection, we just talk about it. Mainly because I know following me around is kind of a pain in the rump, and carrying the camera everywhere is a pain in the rump. And you guys have seen most of my videos. If you're longtime watchers, if you're not, you can always go back and check them out. So the main difference in making a spread for an apartment and making a spread for property is you want it to be finer, and I'll tell you why. You want it to be very fine, almost powdery, so you're gonna use your mortar and pestle on it a whole lot more than if it were gonna be outside, say. So it is going to be outside, but the secret is it's also going to be inside. And the reason is because apartments have walls that houses don't. You have walls that separate you from your neighbors. And you can take a very small spoon or distribution tool of your choice and make a very thin line right on either the baseboard or the floor that separates your apartment from your neighbor, that wall, to encompass your entire apartment in this spread. Now you can do it all on the inside, or you can do that wall that separates you from your neighbors on each side, and then do outside in front, which is what I do. Another thing that you can, now this is just with a spread, but there are other things you can do. You can bury mirrors. We've talked about this in the past, I believe. I got that tip from Lady Grave Dancer. Bury mirrors on your property. Now, if you don't have, I'm very lucky. I have a front area that I can plant in, I can decorate, I can do whatever I want right in front of my apartment, but a lot of people don't. I also have a back area that I can do the same in. If you don't, and you can't bury mirrors directly in the ground, you can actually use potted plants to bury your mirrors. When you bury them, you're going to bury them facing up, so the mirror reflection part is up. And the reason you're doing this is to reflect any negativity, any plan to harm you or your property, so on and so forth. Great protection tool. Then there's always chalk. If you've watched any of my videos, if you haven't, you can go back and watch it. But chalk is an amazing magical tool in a rented property. It's an amazing tool in any property. But in a rented property, it's amazing because it disappears. And you can use it to make stars or sigils on your windows. They don't have to be the whole window. It can be just the corner. Nobody will know. But it's a little protection sigil. Come up with your own. It's better that way. It's stronger that way. Come up with your own symbol of protection and put it on your windows. And you can put it on your walls with chalk. The secret is you make your sigil on your wall wherever you want it. It can be as big or small as you like. And then use some blessing oil. That smoke you're seeing is my incense. Use your blessing oil on your finger to go over the sigil, and the chalk will disappear, but it will still be there. That protection will still be there. So that's another great idea for apartment protection. Another one, of course, is your outdoor items, your chimes or your bird feeders, or I have an evil eye hanging on my door. I have a chime hanging next to it, and I have a hummingbird feeder. I also have a beautiful bauble that hangs on the top. They're all enchanted. The hummingbird feeder, of course, is enchanted to bring nutrition and happiness to the birds, but the rest of it is enchanted to protect my property. And I'll show you those things before we end the video. Another thing you can do is on your porch area, you can have protection things. I have a witch's bottle sitting on my porch right here. I have gnomes that have been enchanted as wards for protection of my home. I have a candle that I burn every time I'm outside. I have incense that I burn every time I'm outside. Hi, little toad. And so there are many things you can do for protection in an apartment. A lot of people start feeling like they're in this little entrapped community and they really don't have any options, but it's not true. You have a lot of options. I wrote a few things down, so I want to make sure I covered them all. Just give me a second with my 6 eyes. Chalk on windows. House wards we talked about. You can have a house ward inside. You don't have to have them just outside. I have a toad in my house. I think I've shown in a previous video. That was my mother-in-law's that I enchant to keep my house spirits happy. Grist bags with a mirror on them is an amazing thing. A witch's purse with herbs and materials and things in it for protection. Close it off and hang a piece of a mirror. Just glue it to the little string or ribbon or whatever you use of a mirror and hang that outside. That mirror will reflect, again, all the bad stuff. Plants we talked about. If you have decor outside like I have, when it's daylight, one of these times I'll do a little tour around my apartment and show you the things that I have and the area that I have set up in the front and an area that I have in the back that I have yet to touch other than burying mirrors out there. I haven't done anything, and it's a beautiful little area. I could do anything I want. I just haven't gotten around to it. So I'll show you all that stuff at some point. Anyway, I have some gourds on my porch. I enchanted those to protect my porch area. You kind of know the saga going on here in my home. So I also have this bamboo wall. I purchased this and I set it up because we have issues with our neighbor, and it is full of protection. I oil it very often with a blessing and protection oil. I don't know if you can see the white lines though. Here? No. My cat is doing something. I hear him. Anyway, there's little white lines on it where the oil has kind of eaten away at the rattan, but that's okay. It's not going to harm it. It just looks a little different, and that's all right too. I like that. So I put protection oil on this often, at least once a month. And my incense box, it's a little square incense coffin. I've got that enchanted. My little tables are enchanted. My tray that I'm using at this moment right here is enchanted. So there's a million things you can do in an apartment to protect yourself. Chicken feed on the back of the door is an amazing tool, and I have a set of those that you all know about. I've shown in other videos before. So, and I make those. So if you don't know where to get them, get a hold of me. I make them. I think I charge like $12.95 for a pair. I don't know exactly. I'll have to look, but $12.95 sounds reasonable. So I wanted to talk about that because I didn't want to do another video of me throwing together herbs. I think that gets boring after a while. It does for me anyway. And so I thought, well, let's just do a morning coffee with Lunaya and talk about it. So we did. There you go. I have other subjects though. So last year we did a full-on ritual for Halloween. I wore my wig, the hat, the whole 9 yards, and we did a real ritual. A silent supper, the whole 9 yards. And we talked about a few things you can do for Samhain, for ancestors, which is an important time of year to really work with your ancestors, but also for ancestors who've been forgotten, there are traditions. This year, we're doing something much, 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 much bigger. And a lot of this is thanks to a dear friend of mine who gave me a reading, who said, whatever that is you're planning is going to come off successful. So I've decided to do it. She hit it right on the head too. She's an amazing psychic. Miss Tangi, Roman Biscotti, amazing psychic. And so this year we're going to do a graveside, a graveyard rite, a cemetery rite. And I have to say cemetery because the graveyard is across the street with no church, but the one that we'll be in has a church. So it's a cemetery. I believe that's how it goes. And So, excuse me, we're going to do a ritual or rite of some sort in the cemetery and film it. And now there won't be a whole lot of talking as far as to the camera goes, because you're just going to kind of be there to see what happens. It is the first time I've ever done it, but it is something I really feel like I need to do. Last year, our celebration brought me a visit from my parents that was phenomenal. Amazing. I couldn't even talk about it, so I didn't do a video for quite a while because it was not something I could really readily share at the moment. I was so emotionally encumbered from it. It was a beautiful visit. It was like they were there. Well, they were. And we had an amazing time in the dream on Samhain night. I can only imagine what this will bring. So I'm very excited. And I love to honor people who probably don't get honored often. So I'll tell you what we're going to do is buy apples. Apples are a way to show respect and give an offering to ancestors forgotten. And when I say that, I mean, we all pass, and eventually the last one of our lineage is going to pass. And when that happens, the ancestors are never thought of again unless they were famous or have done some huge thing in history. They're not brought up again. They're not remembered, and they're not honored. And that's a sad thing to me, because ancestors are such a huge part of my practice and my life. So I buy apples, and I usually toss them on the side of the road as I'm driving as an offering to all wayward ancestors or spirits who need offering. This year, I will be distributing them at the graveyard, at the cemetery and the graveyard, probably both. This place we're going has 3. It's got a graveyard on one side of the street. You cross the street, there's a small little chapel that's a very old church with a very old cemetery. And then beyond the church, there's a new cemetery. So there are 3 in that area. It's just powerful. And so that's where we're going. I'm going to have Amanda, my daughter, go with me and do the videotaping. Now I'm praying this can happen on Samhain. If not, I may just go myself and take the video camera and set it up on the tripod and do it that way, because I just really feel like it needs to be on Samhain. And I don't know if she's working or not. I haven't had a chance to talk to her, because I just kind of, she works like crazy, this kid. She's got 3 jobs. She's an EMT. She's got 2 jobs, and she just got another one. She's got a full-time, a part-time, and now another part-time. And she's an EMT advanced. She just got her advanced, so she's just a step down from a paramedic, and she's still working on that. She's an amazing human being, and everything I ever could dream of wanting to be when I grow up. This girl is amazing. But so I have to see if she's off. If she's off, she can come with us, and she can do the taping, and I can just be free to do whatever. If not, we'll take the tripod, but we're going to make it work. And I know that because Tangi said it's going to work out. So there you go. So we're going to do that. The apples, the pumpkin seeds are another way to honor ancestors. Spreading pumpkin seeds, planting pumpkin seeds, baking pumpkin seeds, and then distributing them, just kind of tossing them. Now you want to germinate. I mean, you want to make sure that you've baked them or you've done something with them, unless you want them to plant, to grow, to germinate. But other than wanting that, you want to bake them a little bit or roast them or buy roasted ones. Boy, the mosquitoes are out thick tonight. This morning. It's 3:20 in the morning. Yes, I know. It's crazy hours I keep. What can I say? Sometimes it's nice to just sit in silence. I miss you guys, and I don't get to do enough videos, and sometimes morning is the best time because there's no distractions. There's no distractions. There's no distractions. It works out well. So the other day at Amanda and I went to a thrift store. She went to work with me, and then we stopped at a thrift store on the way back into town because I work in two facilities, two towns. And we were on our way back in town, and we decided to stop at this thrift store. And I found a dagger. It's a cool blade. It kind of does this thing to a point, and on the other side it's got little divots, and it's because it's a dragon. So the little spikes on the one side of the blade are the tail. The blade is the tail, but the little spikes are the scales. It's really kind of cool. But the problem is the handle is plastic and has a little broken bit off of it. But it's got a talon hanging, and it's got one of the talons is broke, and then it's got the dragon head on the handle, but it's plastic. Now, decoratively, it's cool. And I thought about not doing anything to it and just using it as it is for a ritual blade. But I don't know. I don't know yet. But anyway, I thought about replacing the handle too. So we'll see. We'll see what comes of that. I'll have to show you that too. But it was kind of cool. And I also was going to tell you guys that, Augustus, my big book of shadows that I made, it's big. It's a big book of shadows. I got that from Tangi. Again, Tangi's coming up a lot today. Tangi did a video series when she had a different channel on how to make these books, sacred books, out of old books. And I had a recipe book of my mother's that was about that long and about probably that wide, almost as long as it was, as wide as it is long. It's a very big book. And it had 600 pages in it or so. And when I finished it, I think I ended up with 100 and something pages of my own in this book of shadows, which uses a belt buckle to close. It's really extraordinary. But I find that I do use it. It has things in it, but it's not, I don't feel about it the way I did when I made it. That's probably the best way to say it. I don't have the relationship with it that I did in the beginning. But my daughter loves it and wants it so badly. So I told her I ordered a book of shadows that I do love. It's a leather-bound book. It's just from Amazon. It wasn't super expensive, but it's very large. It's a 13 by 9, I believe. And I love it, and I feel connected to it. So I told Amanda, if you'd like Augustus, I'll give him to you. And she just flipped. She wants him so bad. So that makes me feel good. At least he's going somewhere where he'll be used, and the work with him will continue, and that's important to me. And she said she wouldn't change his name, and that's important to me too. I don't know what it is, but I've got a thing about naming my book of shadows, my Rose of Jericho's, and everything's got to be an A. I don't know why. A for ancestor? I don't know. So I've got Augustus, and Agatha is my Rose of Jericho. Agatha is about to retire. She's been used so often and so many times and opened and closed so many times instead of just keeping her open that she has started to not turn green when she opens. Now she opens nonetheless, but she needs to retire. She does. So Agatha is going to retire. I'm going to bury her. And I got a new Rose of Jericho, so I've got to name her or him. I don't know yet what they are. I have to fill it out. They're still in the box. I think also, so I've gotten quite a few things since I haven't done a haul video in years. It feels like years. And I've gotten quite a few items that I feel like I should have shared with you guys. I've got a crystal ball that's about this big around. I don't think I shared that. I got a mink skull, which is just amazing. I set up a cursing altar. I got chewed out on one of my videos because I was talking about cursing, and someone was just like, you said you didn't curse. I never said that. I'm a gray witch. I do what I need to do for me and my family. I don't unwarrantingly curse, and it has to be justified, but I do hex. I don't necessarily curse. I am one of those that believes there's a huge difference between hexing and cursing. Hexing is a quick kind of do it thing, and a curse takes years, in my opinion. So no, I don't curse, but I do hex. If I need to hex, I hex for me and mines. This coffee is so good, and I'm scared it's going to get cold, and I do not like cold coffee unless it's iced coffee, like supposed to be cold. But that in between room temperature and cold, I don't like it. Let's see. What else can I bring you up to date on? My car is leaking oil like a sieve. I don't have the money to fix him. We did get another car that's a really nice Murano, but the ball joint's out in it, so it goes in the shop on Friday to get the ball joint fixed. The air conditioning needs to be fixed, and living in Texas, trust me, it is a necessity. But right now the ball joint has to be fixed because it's not drivable, so we're going to do that first and then worry about the air conditioning, and it needs a clock spring, because what that means is the stuff in the steering wheel doesn't work, like the radio tuner and turner upper volume and the cruise control in the steering wheel don't work, and the what's that thing called, airbag, the airbag light stays on, so it won't pass inspection. So I have to get that fixed, and then the air conditioning has a leak. So, I mean, there's a few things that need to be done, but it is drivable if the ball joint is fixed. So that's next. That's first, I should say. First thing is the ball joint. And then hopefully we'll get the Murano taken care of quick enough to take care of the Mitsubishi, but we'll see. Who knows? Well, I guess I've run out of things to talk about. I will show you my little nook here where I feel sacred and safe, usually, most of the time. Not all the time. But I'll show you that right quick. This is my beer can holding up my camera. Here, let's get this way. This is my little table with my candle and all my stuff on it, and my doggy. And then this is my other table. And you can see the gourd is on there, but behind that gourd, that's my witch's protection bottle that I keep on the porch. That is a hexing jar and an incense burner. Yes, I keep that hexing jar on the porch, and I feed it often. It just makes the most sense to me. So I hope you enjoyed spending your morning with me. I enjoyed spending it with you. I love you guys. I do hope the apartment protection part comes through without me, mixing the herbs for you. If you need to know what herbs to mix, just let me know. I'll definitely give you a heads up on that. But like I said, I've done so many videos of herb spreads and so on that I feel like you guys kind of already have the gist of what goes in it. Do grind it thinner, smaller, so that it's more like a sand, and that way you can use it on the inside as well as the outside. The outside can be coarse. You don't have to grind all of it very thin. And remember, when you're grinding it in your mortar and pestle, to send the energy, send the intention of what that is for, what you're doing with that. Meaning, if it has extra stuff you need in there, protection or get rid of, or whatever that you're adding to it, that you're thinking that as you're using that mortar and pestle, because that's where the energy's coming into that mixture, is when you're mixing, when you're making it, you're sending that intention to it. I mean, you're enchanting it in a way that is, and especially if you're making it a fine powder, because you have to really work at it for a while. And just imagine how powerful that stuff is. It's amazing. So anyway, I hope that was explanation enough. I hope you're looking forward to Samhain celebration this year. I really am. And I guess I'll let you go. Remember, your divine, sacred beings of light and love. I love each and every one of you with all my heart, all my soul. Love you to pieces. Please have a blessed day and enjoy the rest of your week. Love you guys. Bye.